On first down, it's Jordan Howard. Not much of an opening, but he makes it a big gain inside the 5, down at the 4-yard line. 3 wide receivers in the game. This time it's Jordan Howard. Big hole, and it's Howard taking it in for a touchdown.
A Bears ballroom, they're the ones that fight for truth. Bears are alive or 100 proof, even if the Bears win or lose. A Bears ballroom, they're the ones that fight for truth. Bears are alive or 100 proof.
Jordan Howard, another good hole. He stays on his feet. Bengals had him by the foot. He broke the tackle, gets up across the 40-yard line, a gain of 16. Bears at the 8-yard line. It's Howard again, inside the 5. Reaching for the end zone. Touchdown is the signal.
The Steelers are stacking inside and going man-to-man. To the left side and the touchdown, Jordan Howard.
He takes shots. Bomb flies appreciated worldwide. Canada, Scotland, England, Brazil, Mexico, and Dubai. Dr. Phil is the guy, the one to realize that the barroom needed to show with an endless shoot supply. Gone big coat fought the narrative on color, brought the Jaces of get paid for Mitchell. Now I'm the standing up for the truth. You know your boy's the little guy. These media heads won't give us credits up to the bar fly.
2 yards they give us to Howard. Howard breaking tackles and out across the 40 for a first down.
This is the number 1 pod, that's the reality of the truth. And if you don't know us by now,
give it to Howard. Howard running room to the 10, to the 5, and down to about the 3-yard line.
Even if the Bears win or lose, a Bears ballroom, they're the ones that fight for truth. Bears are alive or 100.
Howard left side, to the 10, to the 5, game over! Jordan Howard!
Hello, Bears fans. This is Bears Hour Live with the one and only Draft Dr. Phil, and tonight we are back to being rated PG. My name is BearsGrl, and in case you missed it, I am your new moderator here on Bears Hour Live. My main job is to ask Phil the questions that you're posting live in our chat room if you're listening to our show tonight on MXLR. And if you're one of our podcast listeners, you can always submit a question for the show at Twitter at the Bears Bar Room handle. If you're sad that you're not able to hear Aldo on this show, fear not, Bars Flies. You'll still be able to hear him on 100 Proof, Bears on Tap, and of course as the moderator on Buffone 55, which will be once a month during the off-season. Plus, like all of our shows here at the Barroom Network, Aldo will have a presence on this very show as a co-producer. All right, if you're like me, yesterday you felt lost with no NFL games to watch. But we got you covered all off-season long with audio, video, and articles covering free agency, the 2018 draft, and of course, what we predict is in store for our beloved Bears this upcoming season. And it's a good thing we have a doctor in the house to help treat all your Bears withdrawal symptoms, because some fans are losing their minds. Phil, we've got a lot to talk about tonight and a chat room full of hungry barflies. Before we get to your opening rant, let me express how much I am looking forward to partnering and working with you on this show.
Well, the feeling is mutual. I was hoping for a little bit more enthusiasm in the last sentence, but I'll let it slide. You know, it's an exciting time. I think I received a couple DMs from some media, big co, I will call them, about, obviously they're listening in, BG, about the presence of a woman in an off-season full of rabid Bear fanatics, and really what a smart move that is. So people reaching out with excitement from all areas and levels of the media population, as well as barflies who have also expressed their excitement to have you on. Let me say that I'm excited about this off season to tackle it with you, and really, I'm excited about the Canadian flavor mixing with the United States passion of Chicago Bears news and nuggets here at Bears Hour Live.
Well, Barflies gave me a couple of opens they wanted me to try. We had Bears fans, we had bonjour and hello, and we said no to those, but I might next week try hi Bears fans and hosers. We will see what that looks like. So Twitter has been lit up the last few days with varying opinions about Jordan Howard being among the best running backs in the game, or not. I guess it all depends on who you ask. So we heard some Howard highlights in the show open, and I know Howard is the subject of your opening rant, so let's have it, Doc.
When you talk about football and you break it down to its core, there's a level of mental toughness that is necessary in a football player's mentality. And I say this with my own experience in playing this amazing, if not the greatest game ever. I mean, there's so much to it, and the philosophy and all of it, but it all boils down to someone's mental ability and toughness. And Jordan Howard, we're going to start there in my rant. This is a young man whose college closed on him and the football program dismissed all of its players, that nobody recruited him in Alabama except one school, and that's University of Alabama, Birmingham. He goes there, they close it down. He transfers to Indiana. And I saw Jordan Howard play Michigan. And in that game, you saw a dominant football player unable to be stopped. And as he proceeded to go through the draft and through his journey, and missing 4 games because of negligence on a coaching staff's part, he just took to the football field like a lightning rod. Was the second leading rusher in the NFL that season as a rookie, minus the 4 games that Ezekiel Elliott had over him. So when I look at Jordan Howard, there is no question that this young man is an elite running back. Yes, highlight, underline, elite. Let's not get it twisted here. This is the guy that movie critics hate, but audiences love. Think of Rocky. You really have to know the game of football to understand the mountain Jordan Howard has had to climb. Howard, as I call him, is a filthy animal. Running back facing 8 and 9 in the box over 40% of the time, while having to overcome inept coaching and completely overwhelmed offensive coordinator who never adjusted scheme, personnel, formation to help the quarterback or Jordan Howard. In fact, the predictability of play calls alone makes what Howard has done on the football field that much more impressive, still averaging 4.6 yards per rush. In a team sport, most running backs need the anatomy of a play to help them to be successful. Highlight most running backs, but Howard overcomes all those odds to be successful. He's continually overwhelmed by no one. He's tremendous. Elite vision, balance, explosion, and power. At 230 pounds, to see this man's feet and foot quickness get him to and through holes, and while punishing linebackers and any tacklers, there is little doubt on the tape that Jordan Howard is the Bears' most important and best chess piece and Mitchell Trubisky's best friend. Let me remind you, coaches always say this. I would preach this as a coach. My father, my uncle, a player's best ability is availability, and Howard has always been available for service. Most of 2017, this young man played with a separated AC joint, despite having to walk off the field in pain, coming back in the Steeler game. Let's not forget this. With the passion and drive to bring his team to victory. That is elite, folks. That is what team is about. Those linemen know. And let's remind the David Kaplans and the David Haws and the laundry list of narratives, ringers, and writers out there, that this young man played with a banged-up line and stupidity all around him and rose to the top. Back-to-back, first ever in the history of the Charter franchise to have a running back go back-to-back 1,000 seasons, and he did it in pain. That is elite. That is inarguable. And when people talk about can't catch, and my last point here, can't is a wrong term. Can't. The only thing can't he do is have a coach understand his importance in critical situations. He couldn't and could not and can't overcome a head coach who's conservative and an offensive coordinator who's lost. He caught balls, and you want to know what? On tape, as the season progressed, his hands got better. If there's one thing, BG, that I can coach up, it's not mental toughness. It's not the willingness to hit the hole. It's not the feel or the unbelievable vision and instincts. It's the ability to catch the football. I can teach and help that. So when people downgrade this young man and the power and all of the drive, and on tape, you can't deny it if you watch it. It's unbelievable, and it is elite.
So, Phil, you graded Howard and posted that on Twitter earlier in the week. Why don't you share that with the Barflies and listeners and some of the reactions to the tweet?
The reaction was silly and asinine, really. I mean, when I look at tape, you think I'm going to be biased? Of all people that's going to be biased towards anybody, it's not me. Shane and others have a friendship with me that I would give my kidney for that guy. So he could joke and have a sense of humor. So when Barflies or these people listening in and think, oh, Phil's this way. I'm the passionate guy. I will fight you tooth and nail. I never back down from anything. But I'm going to give you the truth. If Jay Cutler stunk and was the worst thing I've ever seen, I would tell you. And I would tell you about Mike Glennon. And I would tell you about Mitchell Trubisky and Kevin White and Kadeem Carey and whoever else you want to talk about, Mike Burton. There's no reason for me to be praising a team that's won 5 games unless the player is praisable. So when I look at tape, I grade according to what it is that position requires. And I'm going to do it with a passionate, sharp, keen eye. I'm going to be wrong about players coming out of college. And I will tell you, and I'll take the brunt of it. But look at my record. I will put it up against anybody. I'm proud of what I see. I know what coaching means. And that's a percentage in the change of a rookie coming into a situation. We've gone through this. And Aaron Rodgers might be a different football player if he was drafted by the Chicago Bears. The chance of that is 80%. That 20% of his mental and physical stuff can over-hurdle coaching. That's how important coaching is and landing in the right spot. You hear it all the time, but it's never assessed appropriately. So when you look at tape now, and I come up with grades, BG. Do you have them pulled up now?
I got them right in front of me. You want me to run them down?
Let's go down one at a time. First one on the list. Let's go.
You got instincts at A+.
Instincts. What is instincts, Barflies and loyal listeners around the world? Instincts is getting the football on a toss, on a screen, on a handoff, under center, with a quarterback under center or in the shotgun, and knowing where the play is going to open up. Having that presence of mind, we call it feel. We call it the understanding zone. The holes open up. If you've never played the game, it's hard for you to understand and comprehend how quickly those holes shut. So to be 230 pounds at just under 6 foot and have the kind of instincts to find these holes with a Compton and a Grassu blocking for you, let's think logically here. This man's instincts are beyond anything anyone's telling you. When I look at it, I have to rewind it back. If there was a reality show in my house, BG, people would be like mesmerized by it because I'm rewinding it. Like, how did he understand? This play should not be able to gain yards, but he got 4 based on nothing. Those instincts, A+, without a doubt. Like, I don't have any bias toward. It's unbelievable watching him. Look at Jeremy Langford for an example, Barflies. How many carries for loss? How many carries for loss? This young man here is unbelievable when it comes to instincts. I have no backpedal, David Kaplan, from the grade of instincts.
All right, you got patience as an A.
You look at Le'Veon Bell, probably the most patient running back I've ever seen. A+ Le'Veon Bell. Anyone going to argue with me there? I don't know. Walter Payton knew how to set up blocks. What's patience? You get the football and you understand you have to allow your blockers to get to certain points. And when you have a conservative play caller, as well as one that's overmatched, and you show the kind of awareness that we talk about, the instincts, to have the patience to not just slam your body into a hole. Show me a video. Anybody arguing my grade here? I know there was some asinine guys out there. Wally, Jesus. I know you got a medical degree, but you don't have a football degree, because patience as a runner is allowing this to open up and hit the hole. There is no doubt in my mind, this is an A grade. He could be better, but he's right there. I mean, you can't argue that.
All right, you got physicality as an A+.
I mean, who's arguing his physicality? Maybe Dowell giving to Mike Burton on a 4th and 1? I don't know, but not me, because I see a guy playing injured and putting his goddamn face in people's chests. You think the Pittsburgh Steelers wanted to tackle him in the 4th quarter? We're talking about physicality that we haven't seen since Peyton. Whoa, 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 don't talk about Peyton. That kind of rhetoric and all this BS, I'll go toe-to-toe with anybody. I'll get in a 3-point stance and fire out. I don't care. I'm crazy. When I look at this football player, this guy's maniacal with the football in his hand. He's not afraid. Now, playing hurt changed up his game. He had to make some decisions to go out of bounds because, BG, I played with a separated AC joint. I had a lacrosse pad. I had taped up. I was in so much pain on contact. Even reaching up to catch a screen pass or a flare pass was painful. Forget about contact. I'm doing this in the high school level. Imagine 245-pound linebacker or defensive end coming in and blasting you on contact, and you're having to absorb that kind of pain. The guy's the most physical back in the NFC North. NFC, probably. He's not afraid. It reminds me of Eminem's song, for God's sake. He's not afraid. He just is a powerful young man. And again, A+. Who can argue that? Chachi? Georgie? Joni and Chachi? Whatever the heck. No one can argue that. I mean, to me, it's inarguable about how physical he is.
All right. You also gave balance an A.
watch how he gets hit. I mean, there's plays on this movie that I'm creating for Bears Barroom where he's getting hit by 3 people, is able to bulldoze himself and get like in a squat and carry people 2, 3, 4 yards further than he's supposed to go. The balance and agility, that his pitter-pat feet and quickness with them are so impressive, and his balance is amazing for a young man. It's like, and he looks like an ice skater. You're from Canada. His feet hardly go high off the ground, and he's just so compact and balanced. It's unbelievable, and he gets moving. I mean, his rookie year, he clocked in as the fastest player in the whole NFL with the football. There's game speed and time speed. I mean, you're talking about a guy that has 40-plus yards, I believe, runs. He leads the NFL in. I might be wrong in that, but he's up there. Shane would know. I mean, it's impressive how he gets into the secondary, and he runs downhill hard. The balance and agility that he has is unbelievable. There's no questioning. There's no exaggeration there.
So do you want to talk about this movie now, Phil, that you've been making about Howard, or should we save that to the end of the show?
Well, I'll just talk about it. I'm creating a video. It's a highlight promotion of Bears Barroom as well as Jordan Howard. The tape don't lie. Say it again for a drop. The tape don't lie. When you watch it, it's so hard to take your eyes off what the young man is doing. And then when you put the perspective of what the injuries to his offensive line, Kyle Long, of course, Sue's in there getting blown up every play. Your fullback is awful. Your coach is awful. Your OC is awful. And yet you're still doing it. And it's so impressive because I can't get the god darn thing, because this is a family show. I don't want Chris Armstrong mad at me. So I'm just saying you got to keep it a certain length. I was trying to keep it, but there's just no way that I can ever keep it under 9 minutes. And that's just highlights and a story that I'm telling with humor and promotion of what we do at Bears Barroom. It is going to be epic. I think you're all going to love it. There's no hiding. I know barflies have been waiting for this. I've gotten DMs and tweets. Trey Busy's ready. This is the thing that you could tag any mouthy, big company, flamboyant person on Twitter who's talking about Jordan Howard in a negative term, and you just tag them with the video. You don't have to say anything. Watch the video. Tell me any different. It's undeniable. It's amazing, and it really is going to be fun when I get it completed, because there's some funny stuff in there. There's some great music, drops, everything you expect from a Bears Barroom and Draft Dr. Phil production.
All right, Phil, the next 3 you all rated an A: burst, toughness, and agility.
Burst, toughness, and agility. Power, toughness. Guys playing hurt, BG, all year. Gets going in there. He's had to tap his helmet to get out sometimes. In the Ravens game, he got banged up, comes back in. We know the story of this guy. Agility. I mean, I've never seen a 230-pound guy that agile inside this pocket, this wave. If you've ever been body surfing, you got to time up the wave as it comes in from the ocean and get yourself on the wave and ride it in. And then there's that moment inside the title of the wave where you can look to your right or look to your left and you can see the whole pathway down. That's what it's like in that box in the NFL, where you're running through these holes and having to find your way out. And his agility allows him, and it's clear in the movie how agile this guy is for 230 pounds. It's so amazing, and it's so baffling. As I talked to Aldo off the air earlier today, it's baffling in this city how this guy isn't embraced bigger, louder, and stronger. It's baffling.
All right, yards after contact, you gave him an A+.
Undeniable. I mean, he's breaking tackles, getting into people's bodies, and continuing his movement. He's the most physical back, I think, in the NFL. I'm trying to think of someone more physical. People want to talk about Ingram? Please. It's not even close. Then you add the 4.6 yards per carry. I know Aldo freaking took a fastball, knocked it out of Wrigley with his breakdown when these asinine people are arguing points. It's clear and evident despite the carries, despite the ineptness. Guy's averaging 4.6 yards per carry. He's doing it running through and over people. And let's remind folks one more time, Grasu shouldn't even be in the NFL. Compton isn't a guard. Sowell isn't a guard. But these are his blockers. And did you hear him complain? Did you hear him make excuses? The media doesn't like his personality. He's shy. He's soft-spoken. He's not a big personality. As we said in the last show, he kind of opened up. He told you the truth. Let's embrace him. I was asking Barflies, let's embrace him. And a lot of you have stepped up to the battle, stepped up to David Kaplan's clear-cut, stupid rant in regards to backpedaling. I was joking. No, there's no joking about a person's craft. Okay? There's none. Shane's right. I did say K. There's no joking about it. I think that is the biggest fraudulent thing you can do as a broadcaster, David, is that you could take a person who gives their heart and soul and then say you're joking, that he's not even the top 5 running back in his division, and then retract. That's already out there, bro. Those sheep have listened to you and believed you. You've already misled thousands of listeners. I'm not going to take anything away from your show and what you do as a professional. I think you're great. I think this was a terrible display of what it is that you could bring to the table if you're listening in. To me, this young man needs to be embraced and appreciated by people who actually watch the tape, not some quote-unquote coach that you talked to and said the same thing, so you're going to roll with it. No. This clearly is not the case here. This is a town that needs to embrace this young man.
And probably the most talked about rating is his hands. You gave him a B-.
People are going to twist in the wind. I broke this down early in the season. Mike Glennon was a 1.5 seconds in a timing-based play off on a potential game-winning play. It was on Glennon. Bellamy drops the ball in the end zone. He's a receiver. That's his job. You're a receiver. Running back, yeah, it's part of your job. Jordan should have caught it. But in perspective, as a running back coach, it's a 1.5 seconds late. It's thrown behind him. You allowed the safety to come over, and then he drops the ball, and then the narrative is written that he can't catch. And yeah, there's drops. They happen. Does he need to improve in his hands? Yes. I gave him a B- because I saw improvement. And go watch the Detroit game at Detroit and watch how focused he is on his craft and catching the football. You don't write a story based on 2-3 plays. He's got 52 catches in his career, and the video is going to show this. There's no hiding. You know, it is a highlight video, to be perfectly clear, so I'm not putting drops in there. I'm not making an argument. This isn't a conspiracy lesson. This is a football lesson. As the season progressed, Jordan Howard's ability to make focused catches has improved. Guess what else improved? The quarterback play. So take it for what it is and recognize that B- is his lowest grade. You want to give him a C+, the D- is your IQ. That's just dumb. The non-elite talk is also dumb. You have to weigh these things appropriately. The national media aren't going to do it. This show is going to do it. Barfly, educated guys on Twitter are going to do the work necessary Some of these guys that are fighting a fight on his hands are taking the Atlanta game and running with it. Go to the Pittsburgh game and watch him catch the football. Every screen pass he caught. Go in these other games and watch. It's just not fair. It really isn't. So you want to battle over semantics? I'm going to tell you this. I give him a B- because I watched every snap, watched him improve. And to me, that is a showcase of focused effort. You want to give him a C+? We're battling over semantics. You want to give him a C-? That's not you. I'm making a grade for me, and I saw improvement. And that's how you go with it. There's no other. I'm not hiding from these. I put them out there. I don't back down or hide. So Jordan Howard, B-, raised him up from a C+ because he improved.
All right, Phil. So the chat room is aflutter with comments and feedback on your take on Howard. Airjar says Jordan Howard is underrated because he's not a mouth. He shows up and does work, clocks in, clocks out, and just kills it. In the words of Ditka, he's a Grabowski. Heidi Zimmerman has a question for you on behalf of Kaplan. She would like to know, is Jordan Howard your son, Phil?
Absolutely not. In fact, I totally tweeted him, Heidi, and said I wish he was my son, because if there's a better example of what an NFL franchise should want as the face of their franchise, and let's not get this twisted. Anybody that wants to argue with me, anybody could come on the show. We've opened it up before. We've had Mike Brez, Mr. Magoo. We'll have David Kaplan and anybody else. Jordan Howard is the epitome of Class A. This young man, there's video of him. I didn't put it in the video of him in tears talking about his losing his father and wearing that shirt since the 7th or 8th grade that his dad gave to him before he passed. This is a young man that's battled. This is a young man that we should be standing up for because he carries himself, as Jer said, quietly, punches in, clocks in, and does his job. I know these players listen to Bears Barroom. I do. And Jordan, I'm not hyping you up. I would be honored if this is how my son grew up and was as respectful and as passionate about his craft and his team and his city and shut his mouth even though he wants to say something and just ate it because he knew everybody's calling out the plays. You don't think that plays into somebody's statistical level of being great in the NFL? You don't think a team say, all right, here comes zone. Here comes zone. They're running right. They're running right. Jordan's just sitting there staring forward, knowing they're right. And you don't think that's going to play into them? I mean, to me, it's just downright disgusting how this kid has been treated by this media market. He is a superstar. And like I said, and was going to say, don't get it twisted. This is the best football player on the team. The best football player. If I was ranking, he's number 1. That includes them all. Yes, that includes them all. Everything you could want in a young man, he has.
So you can't see the chat room, Phil, but I want to let you know that Lemming is in the house yet again. And he's got a question for you. Phil, I'm not sure. Do you think Jordan Howard is good? My sources haven't told me how to think yet.
Well, I think we've hit Jordan Howard. I should give Jordan Howard's wedding speech. I should be his best man because that's how highly I think of the young man at this point. Tape don't lie. The kid is Mitchell Trubisky's best friend going into 2018. And you know what? That head coach that you have, that we all have right now, is sitting there drinking his Dunkin' Donut coffee tomorrow morning and just smiling with a grin, knowing 24 is on his football team.
All right, so earlier today on Twitter, we posed the question to Bears fans. If you were the GM of the Bears and running backs Matt Forte and Jordan Howard were both available in the draft, knowing what we know now about their play, who would you draft? And the results from that poll, where over 190 participated, was 58% in favor of Matt Forte. Phil, I'm going to pose the question to you. If you were the GM of the Bears and running backs, Forte and Howard were both available in the draft, knowing what we know now about their play, who would you draft and why?
I would be the GM. Knowing what I know, I would sprint up. I'd have my guy, Nicky, sprint up to the New York podium or wherever the draft was taking place. And a young man from Indiana would be our selection, and I'll tell you why. As great as Forte was, he was light in the loafers when it came to football, mental toughness. There was a lot of business decisions that were made by Matt Forte. And just be clear here, and I'll be very clear and concise. As a coach, I don't want that. I want a team football player. I just did a dissertation, a thesis, if you will, on what it is that an elite running back is. You know, I remember people arguing with me about Brian Urlacher, and I was saying that this guy's better than Singletary was his third year in the league. And people were up in arms with that because of what they thought about Singletary. It's no shot at the player. It's just the reality of the truth of what you see as a football analyst. And when I look at Jordan Howard, okay, Matt Forte is a great receiver out of the backfield. What else does Matt do better than Jordan Howard? Nothing. He's not a better runner. He's not more agile. He's faster, but they're right on the same boat in agility. This guy's going to get you the first down. He's a move the chains. Me and Shane talked about this. I know he's probably chomping at the bit, and we'll probably talk about it again tomorrow. Matt Forte danced in the hole. This kid decides and goes through the hole. Those are the guys that I know bring championships. Those are the guys, the Parcells and the Ritiglianos, the Belichicks, the Grudens, they want on their football team. The Matt Forte became a third down decision maker and a running back that isn't going to get you at 6'2", 225 pounds. He ran like he was $190 half the time. And that's not going to be a popular vote, obviously, versus the majority that we took in. But I am totally in disagreement with the poll because for me, this young man epitomizes what it is that you're looking for in a running back. In fact, you know, the greatest of all time, Walter Payton, he was 5'10", 210 pounds, and he ran like he was 240. Hey, looking at Jordan Howard, how they run, where their mind is, and how they hit the hole, how they play hurt. Let me tell you something. I got it on good merit. Matt Forte has an AC joint. Matt Forte is out 7 weeks. That's just the difference. So for you and the history and the passion and the Bears fans that bought the Forte jersey, for me as an analyst, it's not even close, to be perfectly honest. Jordan Howard is a full 25 yards ahead of Matt Forte in my assessment in regards to where I want my running back to be. And barring injury, BG, I think when all is said and done, you're going to see something special when it comes to competent coaching using this dynamic chess piece. Because this isn't a pawn. This is the queen that can move across any board. And that's why Matt Nagy is going to be happy, because this is a real deal football player here.
And the chat room is divided on this one, Phil, just like the poll. So let's switch gears and talk about another hot topic, Jarvis Landry.
Oh, yeah.
He is clearly a polarizing player. People love him, and some love to hate him. Seems like there are sides dividing all over on this player as free agency is fast approaching. Can you give us your thoughts on Landry and the money it would take to potentially sign him?
Listen, I don't give two craps about money. All of you cap nicks have no clue how this cap is so fluid. It's manipulated. There was a season the Bears had 4.5, and I'll give credit to Jonathan Wood and Shane Marsaw to educating me way back in the day on the fluidity of cap. No matter what you have, you can always make room. As long as I've lived, the cap has never gone down. I've said this over and over again, but I'm going to say it again on my show. You shut up. Shut your mouth about money. It doesn't matter. It never will, because we can manipulate it any way we want. We can make it look like it's a big deal and cut it after 1 year and save. This is about getting talent. I look back on Jarvis Landry. I could give two craps about a 40 time. Steve Largent, what was his 40 time? What was Jerry Rice's 40 time? People don't time well. Some people don't. And when you look at separation, that's where accuracy plays a role. I remember, like it was yesterday, saying to Shane Marsaw in a text, my God, this kid from LSU, we got to get this kid. Him texting back. I don't remember if it was junior or sophomore, but he's like, Phil, kid's only a junior. So he's got another year, or he's only a sophomore. It probably was a sophomore. And I'm like, oh my God, this is a slot receiver that I want. Look at how he's able to get in and out of his breaks and create separation. Those of you out there worrying about Matt Nagy's and this, that, and the other, I love some people's views. I don't have to agree with you, and you don't have to agree with me. But I know one thing's for certain. 112 balls caught is 112 balls caught. Well, when you say that in the NFL, it's up another notch. This is the NFL. Defensive coordinators scheme to stop you, and they can't. So the 40 time goes out the window because a artist, in regards to the route, is what you're seeing. And guess what? He's got suction cups for hands. Every ball that comes his way, he's grabbing. So really, ultimately, you, as Ryan Pace, got to stop worrying about the 1 year deal and get talent in the wide receiver core to surround the young quarterback with playmakers. Playmakers, folks. That's what we're dealing with. We're rolling the dice. We're getting fits that are going to get open. If it's not him, it's on to the next. But you're not worried about the money because you can manipulate that money, and the cap is going up again. In 2 weeks, 3 weeks, when the league year opens, you're going to get a little alert from NFL Network or NFL.com. The cap has been raised to... Fox just bought the Thursday night schedule for $4 billion. $4 billion. This is money, folks. This isn't a game of chess. This is a game of life that I've always lived. Money isn't going to rule the day now. You got to get talent here. Landry, to me, that's an A+ signing. You got the best receiver in free agency. He's going to get open. He's going to help the quarterback. Ding, ding. He's going to get into the end zone. Ding. He's going to move the chains. Ding. He's going to learn and work. Ding. Is he the best person? I don't know what's going on in Miami. People are manipulating stories there, but I can get people that do know Miami and do work with him on the show if he does sign. Because for me, BG, that's a slam dunk if you get them, and it helps the draft. As I said, mocks don't mean a crap right now. Free agency and how they're going to move, and that opening night, you need to attack aggressively at the wide receiver position. Now, if Pace and Nagy don't want this player, I don't know why they wouldn't. I would love him. I totally think he's a fit. I totally don't agree with that commentary. I believe his 40 time means absolutely nothing based on the production and what I know about people testing. Game speed is much different. And this young man would be a total home run hit if he's added to Mitchell Trubisky's arsenal.
So we asked the Barflies in the chat room to give us their thoughts on Jarvis Landry, and they had 3 choices. 1, sign him at whatever cost. 2, sign him at market value. And 3, pass, seeking better value. And the majority have said 2, sign him at market value. And 1 producer who's sleeping said 3, pass, seeking better value.
There is no value. What is value? Value is someone that's going to make a play. You know, I'm tired of the Marcus Wheaton unknown. Is that because of the offensive coordinator who can't understand personnel? Is it Marcus Wheaton? I'm tired of the unknown. I want production that isn't injured. I know Landry is going to make plays. I've seen it throughout his whole career. He's a playmaker. We need that here. We have none. We need that kind of football player that wants the ball in the most critical moment and is going to come down with it and make a play. That doesn't mean you stop there, Landry and done. No, we're going more. We're retooling the arsenal to help this football player because you can't just continue with the Josh Bellamy's and this guy from the street and that guy you signed to the practice squad and an unknown and Gentry. And you got to make a competition, but you got to get people that are going to be playmakers. Again, value, throw value out. Value has gotten you 3 wins, 5 wins, new coaches, new GMs. Value doesn't work. Money spent to win works. You spend it. You got it. You got to spend it. I know there's some rule in the NFL that Aldo and I were talking about that he was going to, somebody could pull it up. But spending limits need to be had. There's a lot of cap space. Stop worrying about who's making what. You just saw a guy start 5 games and he's making the most money in NFL history in Jimmy Garoppolo. You pay in the league where they pay for play. It's time to pay. And that's how we got to roll with it.
Perfect segue to our last topic of the night, the Bears and Ryan Pace. Front office has always been looked upon as being cheap. So, Phil, if it was up to you, what 3 Bears free agents do you bring back and why? And that's actually a question posed from one of our barflies.
Well, you look at this roster, it's been stale and stagnant because the league year hasn't started and this thing's starting to open up. You got Avonte Davis coming back off an injury, and he's able to go around. You also heard about the Amerson coming in, getting a physical and getting looked at by the Bears. So there's some little snowflakes, if you will. I know you got a lot of snow in Chicago of football news percolating out there. But when you look at this roster and you want to carry over, you want to do what's best for this team moving forward, obviously, you know me. You know where I'm going right now. The number one thing that Ryan Pace needs to do is sign Kyle Fuller. It's not even a question. It's as simple as when I thought the number one thing was to re-sign or tag Alshon Jeffrey. It's not about comparing and contrasting and numbers and value and homegrown talent. Reward that. Can't come to a deal, franchise tag it. Because then you could possibly move that piece for something in value. It's about business. You got enough cap to freaking go spend 10 years worth of money now. Money shouldn't even be in the culture or conversation at Bears Bar Room. There's no deals. At the end of the league year, does any team get any awards for how much they didn't spend, how much they saved? So anybody coming at me with that, please record that drop, Nicholas, because there's no award for how much you say. You were the most frugal GM in the NFL. Won 3 games. Congratulations. Here's your award from Pro Football Weekly. That's not how you win. You acquire talent. If it takes money, the Patriots paid. Gilmore got paid there. Made a big play. Did he have a great year? No. Sometimes it takes some time. You got to pay it. So Kyle Fuller is a must. Pay him. He's the number one move as you enter free agency. Kyle Fuller, he's dominant. He's physical. He is a good tackler to great tackler. I know there was a Twitter squabbles and people coming at me. Tape doesn't lie. All defensive backs are going to miss tackles, every single one of them. There's not a one that I know that's not going to miss tackles. The fact of the matter is consistency. He's physical. He's a willing tackler. He played phenomenally in the system. He fits your philosophy going forward. And he's a homegrown kid. You pay that, you reward that. The second guy might surprise people, but for me, I think you keep continuity together. I thought Prince Amukamara was an absolute surprise. He even surprised me more so after I went back and was watching Adrian Amos. Amukamara did a lot of really good things that you like. He dropped some balls, but defensive backs do. But really, he held his own. He played the football really well. He was better than I thought he was in watching games live. And a second time, when I rolled through and really watched the secondary, Amukamara really fit the scheme, was a willing tackler, more so than I thought he was, BG. He's somebody I believe. Now you keep that secondary together. The two young safeties in the back, the communication's all there. You got a Demps coming back that could be a veteran presence, as you saw. Injuries happen at safety. You don't want to see Przinski in there. A great move is to get Prince Amukamara back in there. That would be my number 2 move. And the last move is a coin flip, because I've only given 3. It's a coin flip in the per se that both of these guys fit philosophy, what it is you want. And I think I'm edging. If I only have 3 that I could sign in this game, I'm going to edge towards Kendall Wright, because I felt like there was a feel, there was a brotherhood, there was a willingness to make the catch. There was showcase of some cohesiveness between him and his quarterback. Kid was better route runner at the stem than I thought he was, and the toss-up was between him and Inman for factual purposes here. But I'm going to go with Kendall Wright, because I feel like the consistency and the balance and overcoming, again, a negligent offensive coordinator who the guy goes out and catches 10 balls, and then the next week he's not even starting. To me, that is just absurd. This isn't a fantasy football world where you're punishing people or whatever. This is about what's showing and who's making plays for you. Kendall Wright's making plays for you. Now, granted, he talked some smack, comes back, made a couple drops in the game. That happens. Energetically, shut your mouth, do your job the Jordan Howard way, and go out there and make plays. But I'm not going to badger him, because throughout the whole season, the quality of work that I saw for him, especially at the stem and creating plays for this quarterback, I feel as though if he's used even more so in a Nagy system, where he's motioning and being able to move, he's going to find himself get more separation and be the kind of receiver that you really want. You know, I'm not going to take the cheap way out and say, you get Landry, you get Inman, he's the big guy. No, this kid really is somebody that I would bring back in regards to the whole free agency of who is a free agent for the Bears. That I'm excluding restricted and exclusive, because those guys are coming back. Cameron Meredith's coming back. All those guys, Daniel Brown, who I really like some things, is coming back. So when it comes to this game, I'm telling you, Kendall Wright is my number 3 guy.
So I know that you want to give us a whole laundry list of people you want to sign. Give us one more.
You know, Christian Jones is a guy I think shows the versatility, the ability to adapt. I thought his ability to read and recognize was a 180-degree turn from year 1 in the Vic Fangio scheme to year 2, playing that inside backer. I thought it was going to be a permanent move outside. I think he has natural pass rushing skills, can get to the quarterback and do those things. And I thought that's where he was going to go, and they put him in the middle. And this is where practice and what they see in practice and why you trust a Vic Fangio. I was against it. Like, what are you doing? This kid should be playing outside linebacker. You got injuries. You got elderly players out there. And really, I was wrong, because he came in there and played better than a guy I was high on in Kwiatkowski. It's undeniable on tape how physical, how aware he was. He caused some fumbles. He was around the football. He got into his drops. He was flowing, getting TFLs. The guy is somebody I feel like is a fit here. And once again, another homegrown talent. So he's somebody from the Chicago Bears that I'd focus in on and get him back into the house with the Bears defense in 2018 with this new staff. And clearly Vic Fangio defense.
All right, Phil. So the chat room had a whole bunch of opinions on who they wanted to sign. Bob said that he loves Forte, but he disagrees. He thinks that Howard will end up a lot better. And that's in relation to the comments happening there that people were picking Forte. Lemming says his sources say this show is going to run over. Airjar says, actually, you can add Cam and White healthy with Inman. Wright and Wheaton could be formidable. I call for Albert Wilson.
Well, you can't deny Wilson has a familiarity with the offense, but that's just an easy chess match right there. What is Wilson going to want? Nobody knows that. They're just keying in on, well, he's not a household name, but obviously people in the league know the kid's talent. So yes, that's an easy scheme fit, understanding philosophy of what Nagy wants to do. Obviously, he's on my list for tomorrow, that he's somebody that clearly is going to be in the conversation of what it is you're going to go to. But as far as talent is concerned, when I look at tape, if you're looking at Jarvis Landry and him, it's undeniable the separation that Landry creates and is physical after the catch. You know, I'm not worried about value. I'm worried about talent. And if we're going to get the best, you want to win. So you're not going to go wrong with Wilson. I totally agree. But you got to get the best in here.
All right, we've got one final comment from the chat room by someone named Aldo. He says, I disagree with Phil again, but please don't tell him he yells at me.
Oh, jeez. I never yell at you. I keep it under an hour. Look at this. I didn't go over. I didn't run over like Jordan Howard does defenders. I'm under. But we're going to keep it here because the Barflies unite. I'm excited about the future of Bears Hour Live. This was fun. This is getting down and dirty. I'm bringing off the top of the dome passion. I don't know if you could feel it out there, BG, but I got amped up about Jordan Howard tonight.
Oh, we most certainly felt it, and we most certainly heard it.
I think if Jordan Howard should put this on his Dre Beats headphones and get himself ready for the offseason. This guy, I can't wait to see Howard in Nagy's system. I can't wait to the backtrackers and the flip-floppers. Oh, I knew it all the time. Oh, I knew it. We used to have this device. It used to come on a string. It was a rubber football. It almost looked like a wiffle ball with all those holes in it. This football at Hofstra. And it was on a string, and you tie it to the fence, and you throw it as hard as you can. It would come back so fast back to you that you had to get your hands up to catch it over and over and over. And I would make the receivers do that, and you would see the improvement. You could, in a freshman football player to a varsity football player, the improvement on all of their levels based on practicing this. Not just jugs machines. That's a joke. Drills to get your hands improved. I'm not even worried about that. I'm not even worried that competence is going to reign supreme in Chicago. Finally, it's been so long where I could say, all right, now I feel comfortable with the coaches that are teaching these players, because on every level, every player can improve on their craft.
So want to remind listeners that 100 Proof is going to record tomorrow night, and a special Valentine's Day edition will be on your podcast streams on Wednesday morning. Thanks to everyone listening in and interacting with us tonight. We love spending Monday nights with you. This wraps up this edition of Bears Hour Live, and we will see you all next week.
Heidi, I'll be singing to you tomorrow for Valentine's Day.
She wants to spend Valentine's with you three.
Who doesn't? That's what I want to know. Careful.
I'm not answering. I got into trouble last week. I'm not answering.
Exactly.